what are you guys talking about tonight?
Recap of the year.
Oh, we're going over the best comics of 2018, our favorites, basically.
Oh, okay.
We were just talking about Doomsday Clock, actually.
Okay. That's pretty interesting because I'm going to start setting up for the Spirit Awards as well, so that should be fun. Wow, the Doomsday Clock. What were y'all saying?
I like it.
Yeah, just that we like it, but it's, you know, kind of a drag waiting 2 years to read the whole thing, and we having to reread the first few issues whenever a new one comes out.
Jeff Johns getting a promotion to, what was it, movies and TV has really kind of put a big old delay on things. So yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Gary Frank's drawing that's slowing it down. Yeah,
either one. I agree, because every time an issue comes out, I've got to reread the series because I read so many books. It's easy to just kind of push stuff aside, and you know, I don't have a great memory anyway.
Yeah, and it's not like just one or two things happen in each issue. A lot of crazy stuff happens, so you have to reread it.
Yeah, and it had such a good beginning too. So, yeah, it is a little disappointing to have to wait so much, but thankfully, when you do get an issue, it's at least decent. I haven't read a bad issue yet. It's just, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, they're worth the cover price. Like, that Gary Frank art is ridiculously good. Like, I can see why it takes him a little while. And, you know, I understand why DC would take its time. There's so many books that they just rush out the door. They're like, okay, this has got to be done in 2 weeks. Just draw it. Just use 3D models on the background. Just get it done. It doesn't matter. We'll splash some colors on it with hi-fi. Like, you know, they do that with their books, but they know Doomsday Clock 20, 30 years from now, people are going to be still buying that on the trade. So they want it to be a high-quality book.
And I think that's when it's really going to be worth it. Obviously, buying the single issues at this point are, like I said, it's kind of irksome. But when it is in trade paperback form, I think that's when it's going to really kick off. So
I think, you know, it's just the collector's market right now. Like I buy them just to have them, well, and to read them, obviously. But if you just want the story, yeah, the trade would be the way to go, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten back into comic book collecting, and I need another box.
Right? They do take up a lot of room.
I had to go digital because the room I have just is not big enough. So yeah, that's how I've been. Say again?
I said digital. That's kind of a two-edged sword there.
Just a touch. If you really want to keep them, you have to screenshot the out of the good books. Yeah,
that's what I do, honestly.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like with Comixology, you don't actually own them. You know, it's kind of like you get access to their site. So. It's
weird, and I don't really like their e-reader too much. It's like you watch Diversity in Comics trying to do a review with their e-reader in the browser, and he can't get anything to load.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I did, and it's ever since the beginning. I've been, you know, you take the score. You can actually put a comic book together if you go just Google it. By the way, because you can find different pages, so you can actually put, well, maybe not the whole comic, but if I can get 10 or 12, 15 pages off of Google, I'm good.
Good enough for a review, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Generally, well, that's what I'll do with Comixology, though, is screenshot all the pages and put them in folders. And then I physically own them.
I do for the ones, you know, for the main ones. Like I'm always going to collect Flash and Wonder Woman and Superman, such like that. And God damn it. You know, there are just some like, okay, I bought Riri Williams.
Ironheart.
I am not going to keep that one. It was decent enough. It was, well, by decent, I mean, it wasn't complete crap, which I thought it would be, but,
is she a villain yet?
No.
Right. You remember that? What was that gonna be? Rebirth? Ooh, man, that's some old lore there.
Well, the best one was when she got owned by Thanos. She's like, I'm gonna attack Thanos, and he just like freaking owns her, and she's literally peeing her pants and crying as he's holding her, and he's like, "You're not even worth the time," and drops her. And I think that was the most cathartic thing I've ever read in a comic book, next to Iron Man getting his ass kicked by Thor in Civil War, or after Civil War.
That was like a good moment, though. It actually made you like identify with her as a character for the first time. You're like, oh, she isn't just like, she's actually having a human reaction, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what's cathartic about it. She's not just like freaking whoever created her's little freaking mouthpiece for whatever diversity thing Marvel's got going on. They actually try to write her as a character and gave her a human moment.
Yeah.
I like what Doug Ernst had to say about this issue, where he was saying basically, even though it's not great, it does show how lazy Brian Michael Bendis has been with a character for a while. Yeah, I completely agree. But then again, because of what he's doing to Superman, I am absolutely an anti Brian Michael Bendis fan now.
I'd like to meet somebody who isn't.
He's got people.
Obviously, someone is. Yeah.
Alex?
Somebody's reading. Somebody's reading Scarlet and saying, "That's a great book. I want to read more." I don't get it. I do not get.
From what I understand, he does better with street level characters. Like, people always talk about his Daredevil being good. So I don't know why DC didn't give him like Midnighter or someone like that to write instead of their flagship character.
I don't know. You know what it reminds me of now, and it just may be me, and this just popped into my head. So this isn't like something I've been thinking a lot on. It's just something that popped in my head. It seems like DC, I guess Didio and Lee, they acted like somebody who went away from comics in the mid 2000s, just got back in and said, "Who should we hire for a book?" Hey, Brian Michael Bendis, he's awesome, and they're giving him the keys to the kingdom, not knowing that people are tired of Brian Michael Bendis at this point. I don't know. Just popped into my head. Just a theory. But it really does seem that way. Like they still had in their mind that they were going to get badass Brian Michael Bendis that people enjoyed during the Ultimate Spider-Man run or something.
Yeah. He hasn't been good since he finished his run on Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. I mean, I collected his Guardians, his Galaxy, and New X-Men for the longest time. You know what I was doing? I was flipping through it and dumping it on the pile. I actually recently got rid of a lot of comics. His entire runs of those, somebody bought all of them. I don't know why, but I was just happy to, I got room for other things, better things.
Yeah, I've got his run on Invincible Iron Man with the first appearance of Riri Williams, and I'm just waiting. I figure they said they were going to announce her in a movie. The idiot speculators will pay top dollar if somebody's announced for a movie. So I'm waiting because I do eBay as well. You know, I figure I'll sit on them for a while, but otherwise they're useless. They're not that good, to tell you the truth.
Really, they are going to put her in a movie?
Rumored. It was rumored. But then again, who doesn't have a rumor of what's coming up?
Yeah. There's a lot of movies in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when Robert Downey Jr. retires, I mean, that was probably their long view idea, was to make a new character to fill that slot, even more so than replacing Iron Man in the comics was replacing Iron Man in the MCU. But I don't know if their Riri character's up to the challenge, unless they kind of completely redid her for the movies. Like, just give her an origin that actually makes sense. Like, you were saying, have her be Rhodey's niece or something, and she kind of has known Iron Man for a long time. She didn't just drop out of the sky, so to speak. Like, there was a reason for her to be there, and Tony Stark could be like, "Oh wow, this girl's really smart. She's really into this stuff. Let's start to teach her." And then something could happen to Tony, and then she'd have to, like, come on, it's not that hard. Like, I'm not a professional comic writer, but I feel like I could write come on. It's back to basics. That's why Superman was actually selling well and doing well once they'd gone back to basics in the Rebirth run before Bendis came on. He was with Lois. They have a son. Like, it's just good, wholesome stuff that people like to read. Super Dad was actually outselling, any of the Superman in the New 52, but it had to go. Oh, and even Super Sons was doing really well. People like that stuff.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. I'd give that to my sister's kids. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Yeah, the new run is good. The Adventures of Super Sons is good. It's just not. It doesn't feel like canon. It feels like this offshoot title for kids rather than, what it was. And they messed things up. At least Tomasi's coming. Detective Comics. We'll be getting some good books, hopefully, from Batman then. So there.
Yeah, Tomasi's real good. I guess, is that after his Super Son Adventures finishes?
I don't remember. I know it's like in the back of every comic book now. I don't know what the date was, though. I just because at this point I'm passing them by because I've seen it enough. But yeah, I don't know what number he's coming on.
DC kills me with that. We'll also have the same ad in every single comic book, but then they have tons of books they don't promote at all.
Yeah. So which one do you think should get more advertisement? Like what's good but that they're not pushing?
Well, there's primarily the new. Well, it's almost too late now, but primarily the DC New Age of Heroes line, like the whole line. Maybe not promote Silencer and Sideways because those two are kind of doing all right on their own. But
I think they canceled Sideways.
Did they?
Yeah, I think that was one of the ones on the chopping block.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Sorry,
aren't they just DC does Marvel? Because like some of those characters look very like Sideways, or as I like to call Spiderways.
Spiderways.
He became his own character very quickly, but it was like the Terrifics or Fantastic Four. I mean, that's obvious, except for their Fantastic Four done a lot better, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, Terrifics is really good, but I stopped collecting it because apparently it went downhill at a point. So I stopped collecting it. Well, that's what I heard. Like a new writer came on, and they kind
a
of
new writer too.
I knew that. Yeah,
it didn't go downhill. I wouldn't say it went downhill. They just got a new writer. It's still been good.
No Jeff Lemire.
Yeah,
I can't even. I mean, it was bad enough when they got rid of the original artist. Although Doc Shaner was really good, but ditching
a lot of them were only contracted for a few issues, like the first storyline, and then they jumped ship. So it was like, hey, we're going to have these great artists on it for long enough to hopefully get you interested in the characters. Unfortunately, it didn't work for all of them, even if they were good titles. Curse of Brimstone has just been getting better and better. And
they used up all their orange and black ink, though.
Yeah, that is can't argue with that. But it's kind of funny that it's also on the chopping block. It's amazing.
The whole freaking line is because DC is got their head in the ground. Like, you could say they were contractually obligated, but that is not how this series was sold to us. I was doing videos before any of the books come out, just based off of DC's advertising, and it was all about, our master class of artists and writers is going to be doing this new line. It wasn't like, okay, after 2 issues, after half an issue, Jim Lee bailed. Like, he didn't even do all of issue 1. The whole thing was just ass backwards, honestly. And it's really too bad because almost all the ideas were really cool. Like, Jim Lee's book, Immortal Men, that was badass. That was going to be like, I don't know, it was sold as DC's X-Men, but not really. I thought it was a cool premise. And
I like the Unexpected.
Yeah, Unexpected. I've got the first issue of that. And those ones, too, weren't even new creations, so to speak. Well, I guess, that's another thing most of the people don't realize is this New Age of Heroes. Most of them are characters that existed in name. So, like, Damage existed in name. And the Unexpected characters, like Neon and, Firebrand. There's been like 4 or 5 Firebrands.
Yeah.
But all those books, they sell really bad, like 10,000 or less. So,
yeah, if it was Marvel, they would be, hey, look how good we're doing.
Right.
He's like, 10,000, we better ditch it.
What'd you think of Electric Warriors?
Surprisingly good. I actually was, like I said, surprised at it. It starts off very vague in what's going on, and it's completely written for the trade. I'm not a big fan of that, but by the end you find out it's what's going on, and it's it's kind of like the book Strike Force Morituri, where there's an alien invasion and they send, or it's, except for it's like shit. It's not an invasion. It's like the Hunger Games with superheroes in the future.
Oh,
yeah, and it's when I found that out, I was like, oh, cool. Except for animals have been given sentient. Well, damn it, that's not the word for it. Human intelligence. And every time a human goes into this particular thing, they're killed quickly. But this one guy wants to prove that humans are still relevant on Earth, so he signs up. It's pretty good, and obviously a little bit complicated in that plot thing.
Yeah.
You guys
yeah.
Check it out. Oh, sorry. What?
Have you read Hawkman? I forgot to mention Hawkman. I really like Hawkman.
Oh, Hawkman is one of the best books on the shelf.
Hitch's art, and the story's full of adventure, and and a bit of, and I like Hawkman's like origins and stuff, that he's reincarnated through the centuries. So it's good to see them.
That's
do
been the
something
story. Yeah, it's been all about him exploring his past lives, which is just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I've loved this storyline with the Atom.
Yeah, the Atom is freaking cool. I forgot how cool the Atom is. Marvel. I know there's probably nothing to talk about with Marvel because they haven't been good this year, have they?
Not so much.
Hey, I'll give them credit. X-Men Grand Design. That thing looked pretty freaking good. I was going to break down and buy it, but it was sold out. I was like, shit, it must be good. So
that's like the Cliff Notes version of X-Men. In all honesty,
though, for someone like me, because I'm just not a big Marvel guy. Like that would seem like a perfect place for me to jump in and be all like retro style and stuff. I thought it looked cool, but tell us about it if you've read it.
That's it. It really is a Cliff Notes version of what happened in the X-Men. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it had newsprint, so that was fun. I like that bit about it, just because I miss it. I miss that.
I know. It looks so freaking cool. Like I wanted.
It really does.
That book. Maybe I'll get it on the trade.
And it basically goes over everything that happened. Sometimes it'll gloss over if it's not an important event, or it'll stay for a page or two if it is. It just goes from issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and it just covers everything. So if you don't have the money or to buy all the trades and such, and you just want, like I said, a Cliff Notes version, it's just a lot of fun to read. In all honesty, I kind of enjoyed it because to me, it's like walking down memory lane. It's like, oh yeah, I love that storyline. I read that. One of my first Silver Age books was the story with the Master Mold and all sorts. So I loved the Sentinels when I was a kid, and that was one of the first stories that I picked up.
That sounds
like Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Cosmic Ghost Rider's was tons of fun. It's over now. I think it was only a mini series, but man, that was fun. But anything Donny Cates is totally enjoyable. Highly recommend it. I hate Venom. Don't like the character. They fucked him over. He used to be such a great villain. Now he's an okay midline anti-hero. Except for I love the book. Donny Cates is kicking ass on it. I can't hate Venom, the book, but I'm still not a fan of the character.
Yeah, Hiddle's pretty good.
I can't think of a bad thing that Cates is writing right now. Okay, I'll tell you this. I did think he mishandled the ending of Death of Inhumans.
Oh, he wrote that.
I mean, if you're going to call... Yeah, he did. And if you're going to call a book The Death of somebody in that book should die. I'm just saying. They should actually be dead by the end of the book, but none of them.
They never do that, do they? In Civil War, Giant Man died. But honestly, I didn't know who Giant Man was until he died. It should have been a major character who died.
I thought Captain America died at the end.
Well, after that, like in the end, he got arrested.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, what a dumbass story. Sorry, but Iron Man ends up acting like a fascist, and Captain America says, hey, I know a way to change this American law. I'm going to go punch Tony Stark. just have somebody written in character. No, I know I get a lot of crap for it, but yeah, I didn't care for Civil War. Neither one of them. I can say that Civil War 1 was better than Civil War 2. Yes.
Would you say Cates is like Marvel's Jeff Johns? He's basically carrying the whole company on his shoulders. Like whenever Marvel comes up, like, you know, it should be like a rule, you know, if when people are talking about Marvel, you can't mention Cates for the first 5 minutes because it's inevitable. Like, what's a good Marvel book? Cates. Okay.
Yeah.
And, that's it. You know.
Okay. No Cates. I like the new Punisher because they're letting Punisher be Punisher.
Who's writing that?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm sorry, guys, but I've been reading. I read through the book so fast. It's like, who wrote that? I should mention that in the review, and I don't. Let's see. Immortal Hulk has been fun. Everybody mentions that one.
Someone mentioned that in the chat, actually.
Is that that's not the She-Hulk one, is it? Because that looks horrible.
No. She-Hulk sucked.
Oh, did you see that picture of She-Hulk kissing Thor? And it's like,
yeah,
she's manhandling him. I'm just like, dear God. And like, he's embarrassed, like he won't admit to it. And the other characters are asking what they were doing. And she's like, we were smashing. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Ew.
Right? And it's not like the sexy, like we were talking about John Byrne. His She-Hulk's, oh man, that's like pinup stage. Like, that's the best. Like,
yeah.
You wouldn't think She-Hulk could be sexy, but it's like, damn, she's fine.
I gotta say, back in my teens, She-Hulk was my comic book crush.
Right? Like the way he drew her was just ridiculous. Like he can draw.
I love the jump rope scene.
Right.
There's a couple of pages where she's jumping rope and naked. And the rope is you see the rope lines over the private parts, and it just says, okay, all our pervy readers were requesting I jump rope in the nude, and here you go. And it's just a whole line. And she was Deadpool before Deadpool as well.
She wasn't naked though. She had a bikini on. When it stops, it's actually she's wearing a bikini. That was a whole bait and switch.
Yeah, she was the first, or at least she was before Deadpool, talking to the audience and breaking the fourth wall, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, heck, she did it. She did it on the covers of issue number 160, where it's like she's standing there. Okay, we're doing this again. If you don't buy my book, I'm coming over to rip up all your X-Men. And then when it got canceled in 60, it says, "Okay, kids, I'm coming for your X-Men." I love those things. She was Actually, you're right. MK Ambush Bug was the Deadpool before DC or before Marvel made Deadpool.
Poor old Ambush Bug. Has he even shown up in Rebirth yet?
Isn't he dead?
I saw.
Well,
no, he showed up in Supergirl recently.
Oh, okay.
Not that he did anything. He was just kind of there.
He kind of shows up in Supergirl more than anything. He was like that in the New 52 anyway. Like Convergence Supergirl, he just shows up. He's like one of the characters in that.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, Convergence Supergirl. Oh, it's Supergirl Matrix. It's like the clone Supergirl or whatever. But I thought it was all right. Some of those Convergence stories are really good, actually. Like the Wonder Woman one, she has to fight the Red Rain universe characters. So it's like Vampire Joker and shit. Oh yeah, it's badass.
Yeah, I quit mainstream comics after New 52. I was bored and done with Marvel already, and DC changed. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. I thought I was actually done with comics for good, but yeah. So I stopped during the New 52. I gave it a couple of weeks, but yeah, I just didn't do it.
Yeah, their sales towards the end of the run were really low. Everybody quit.
But thankfully, Didio is bringing back the New 52. Maranya's got a question. You guys asked for questions for the panel.
Oh yeah, I missed that. What 5 books should be never cancel titles, and what 5 books should be canceled and never brought back for Marvel or DC? Wow, that's a long question.
We should all go through each.
Let's see. Okay, let's do this first. 5 books that should never be canceled for each. Wow, that's Because I mean, sometimes things just come to an end too, right?
Yeah. Well, obviously, it would have to be the mainstays. You know, like no matter how much I hate Bendis's run, Superman, Batman, JLA, Wonder Woman, The Flash. You know, they should never be canceled. The ones that should just go away and never come back. Ooh, that's tough because you're always reminded that in the hands of a good writer, any character can be good.
Kite Man.
DC Comics goes. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, the superhero girls is pretty good. For what they are, it's not bad.
Hey, one cool thing about that too, it's really good kids entertainment on DC Superhero Girls. I actually like that DC's got like a line that's reaching out to, well, girls. Honestly, it's straight up for girls, and then they have the Justice League Action is more like the boys one. But they're, as far as I know, they're both always live streaming on YouTube, like 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's like free entertainment for kids.
End of line.